Yo, what's going on, America and the rest of the world? Xander J. Hobson here, comedian, director, and producer of boxing documentaries and troll to those who need trolling. This here is another episode of The Devil's Advocate, brought to you by the Brilliant Artist Movement. Folks, listen, trying to grow the platform, so please subscribe, like this video, share it, and by all means, leave a comment in the comment section. Because I love checking out the feedback from the videos that I make, as well as exchanging opinions and points of views with you all. So anyway, folks, you might observe in my background an aircraft. And that aircraft right there is a C-141 Starlifter. It has been since retired from the Air Force's cargo plane inventory, but they still got a few old relics like this one hanging around. This was a pretty good plane, and when I tried to get into Air Force aviation initially, I wanted to be a crew member on this airplane. Not so much because I favored the airplane, but because I had a lot of really good friends over here at McGuire Air Force Base, where I am. And I spent a lot of time over here at McGuire. This is where I got the start to my Air Force career. I can remember as a young Marine, we were out in the field, and I bumped into a guy who happened to be ex-Marine turned Air Force. And the bottom line is, guy gave me a sales pitch on the Air Force, and you know what? As soon as my contract was up in '92, I immediately joined the Air Force. Got this truck going in the background. You can hear it right there. Here, it might ride. There you are. He's riding past. So that's what all the noise is about right there. And if you look over my shoulder now, that would be my left shoulder. You'll see another aircraft in the background. Some guy riding around in this, this crouch rocket car. That other plane in the background there, that is KC-135 aerial refueler. I had the pleasure of flying on that plane on more occasions that I could count. Pretty cool stuff. I enjoyed it. Quick story about flying on a KC-135. I remember we was coming back from overseas. I believe it was Germany. And some guy was bragging about all the items that he was going to sneak past custom. And he went on carrying on with this for a good while. And a friend of mine nudged me, and he looked at the guy and say, "Hey, my man, you realize that I'm actually a customs officer in my civilian job, right?" And scared the guy shitless. Now, if you look over my left shoulder, I see an aircraft back there that looks to be a KC-10 aerial refuel. Now, it's been quite a few years since I've seen a KC-10 aerial refueler, but it looks like they've done some modifications and upgrades, because the KC-10, which is closely related to the DC-10, it used to have an engine on the wing. I'm sorry, on the tail, that tall thing you see back there. And from what I'm seeing now, it doesn't have an engine on the tail. I believe that's the tail. I'm not sure what the correct terminology is. But the bottom line is it's missing an engine. But that plane is over there. I believe is getting ready to take off. I see a ground crew there. You might can see the small vehicles over there. You might can't. But again, this Air Force, this whole Air Force experience, it was a great experience for me, a kid from North Philadelphia. I never imagined myself being an air crew member. It was something that I couldn't imagine doing, but I happened upon it because a very good friend of mine, Corey Big Dash Reed, Senior Master Sergeant, retired U.S. Air Force. I met this guy in 1994, and unbeknownst to me, he was an enlisted air crew aviator in the Air Force, and he turned me on to Air Force aviation. So, I had the first guy who sparked the idea of even joining the United States Air Force. And then I had Corey Big Dash Reed, who sparked the idea of my getting into Air Force aviation. I think one of the things I really loved about my military journey, I'm stressing military because, again, I have been in 2 branches of the service. I think I like the camaraderie the most. I would compare the camaraderie of service men and women to the camaraderie of children at the playground. It doesn't take much for kids to befriend each other. They look over there and they see some other kid playing by themselves, and next thing you know, they'll go over there and they'll start a friendship that in a lot of cases that will last for a lifetime. But what made me mention this is because, as you can see, there are a lot of long, empty streets here. And let me tell you something. As a young serviceman, I spent a lot of time walking because I didn't have a vehicle at the time. But what I really liked, what I remember the most, was some random individual that you didn't know from a can of paint would often enough pull over and offer you a ride. And, I really appreciated that, Now, I will say this. The Marines, the cohesiveness amongst Marines were much tighter than the cohesiveness amongst members of the Air Force. And I would suspect it was the same thing for the Army. And the reason why the cohesiveness for Marines and soldiers is much tighter is because Marines and soldiers are part of a combat component. Therefore, guys who go into combat together tend to be a lot more tighter. The Air Force and the Coast Guard and the Navy, those guys are more supportive. So my Air Force journey, it was a special one. And it was a journey that helped me lay down the foundation for the rest of my life. You'll notice some trucks in the background, and some people may call these trucks cherry pickers, but in all actuality, what the Air Force called these trucks right here were line trucks. And I don't know whether you know it or not, but I've been a commercial driver ever since 1999 legally. But I had started driving commercial vehicles back in 93 when I joined the 270th Engineering and Installation Squadron up in Willow Grove. And let me tell you something. I got behind the wheel of one of these trucks every time the opportunity presented it, because I knew that I was going through a change in my life, and part of my independence would be based on me being able to be employable and have a vocation that will keep me making money. So, I had to stop and get these vehicles right here into the video because, again, these vehicles right here have been instrumental in my adult life. And even until this day, I still maintain my commercial driver's license. I'm just over here on my pilgrimage to McGuire Air Force Base. I spend a lot of time just stopping past military installations as I do my travels. Just this weekend, Yolanda and I were up at a submarine base up in Connecticut, and I should have done some filming up there. But, you kind of sort of got to be mindful when you're filming because you don't want to get in trouble because you broke some rule, and that's not what I want. So, this is Basically, what I'm thinking about, there's a fighter jet back there. Maybe you can see it, maybe you can't. Am I even looking at the fighter jet? Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. I don't know, because I really can't see until I'm finished filming. So I don't know if that's a fighter jet over there or not, but it is. I can look over and see it. But yeah, that's the KC-135 there. And that's the C-141 there. And this is Xander J. Hobson here. And this is you there, wherever you are checking out this video. But at the end of the day, folks, Xander J. Hobson, retired technical sergeant from the Air Force, turned stand-up comedian, turned social media influencer, turned I'm getting ready to get the hell out of here because there's not much more I can do with this video. So with that said, folks, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'm done with it. Bam.